Welcome. If you love learning English through beautiful stories, you're in the perfect place. Don't forget to subscribe and join us every week for a new classic. Once upon a time in a quiet village in Spain, there lived a man named Alonso Quixote. He was about 50 years old, thin, and loved to read books, especially books about brave knights, magical castles, and battles against dragons. He read so many of these stories that he lost touch with reality. His mind became so full of fantasy that he believed the world still needed knights to fight evil and protect the innocent. One day, Alonso decided to become a knight himself. He changed his name to Don Quixote de la Mancha, put on some old armor, and chose a skinny horse named Rocinante as his noble steed. He also picked a lady to be his love and inspiration, a woman named Dulcinea, though she had no idea. With a heart full of dreams, Don Quixote set out on his first adventure. But, quickly things went wrong. He saw an inn, and thought it was a castle. He believed the innkeeper was a king who would knight him. The people laughed at him, but he took everything seriously. To him the world was full of magic, honor, and danger, even if no one else saw it. Soon Don Quixote realized that every knight needs a loyal helper. So, he convinced a kind but simple farmer, named Sancho Panza, to join him. Sancho agreed, hoping to become a rich governor one day. He rode a donkey and followed Don Quixote everywhere, often shaking his head, but staying loyal. One of Don Quixote's most famous adventures happened when he saw several windmills on a hill. In his imagination, they were dangerous giants threatening the land. He shouted, lowered his lance, and charged at them. Of course, the windmills didn't fight back, but one of their blades hit him and knocked him off his horse. Sancho Panza tried to explain, but Don Quixote believed an evil magician had turned the giants into windmills. Many of Don Quixote's adventures follow the same pattern. He tried to help people, but things always went wrong. He fought a group of actors, thinking they were enemies. He freed a group of criminals, believing they were poor victims. He even attacked some sheep, thinking they were enemy soldiers. The people around him often laughed, hurt him, or simply didn't understand what he was doing. Still, Don Quixote believed he was doing great things. Sancho stayed by his side, giving advice and sometimes laughing quietly, but always caring about his strange master. Over time, Don Quixote became famous. People knew about the crazy knight and sometimes played tricks on him for fun. But he stayed true to his beliefs, helping others, being brave, and following the code of honor, even if the world no longer worked that way. In the end, after many adventures, Don Quixote returned home. He was tired and broken. He lay in bed, and slowly came back to reality. He realized that he was not a knight, and the world was not full of magic and giants. Sadly, he gave up his dream. Don Quixote died peacefully, surrounded by his friends. Though his adventures were strange and often foolish, his heart was full of courage, imagination, and hope. And even today, people remember him, not as a fool, but as a man who dared to believe in something bigger than himself. The story of Don Quixote takes place in Spain, during a time when knights no longer existed, but their stories were still popular. The world was changing, moving towards science and modern ideas. Don Quixote, however, wants to live like an old knight, even though the real world around him no longer fits that dream. This creates a special mood, both serious and funny, as the old and new worlds clash. Don Quixote is a kind and brave man, but he sees the world in the wrong way. He believes in honor and helping others, but his actions often lead to trouble. Still, his heart is good, and he teaches us the power of dreams and imagination. Sancho Panza, his helper, is simple, practical, and loyal. Their friendship is strong, and their differences make the story richer and more human. The author, Miguel de Cervantes, lived a difficult life. He was a soldier, a prisoner, and poor for most of his years. He understood both the beauty and pain of life. In Don Quixote, he mixes comedy and sadness, making the story feel real and deep. Cervantes used the book to question the old stories of knights, while also honoring them. Even after 400 years, Don Quixote remains important. It's not just about a man who believes in giants and castles, it's about believing in something bigger than yourself. The story makes us laugh, but also think. And it reminds us that sometimes, the world needs dreamers, even if their dreams seem foolish.